Hello everyone and welcome to a new Outriders video. Today I would like to talk about the Devastator class and I will start specifically for the Vanquisher Tree. Before I start getting in the details about everything, and because I don't want to waste the time for those that are here and seek some specific answers, let's get to that now. Can you unlock tier 15 expeditions with the Vanquisher Devastator and how easy you can do it? Well, the answer is yes, you can, but only if you go for the easiest expeditions, such as the Archways of Enoch, and it's not the hardest thing, but compared to the Blitz spec and the other classes, you will have a higher learning curve and a harder time to survive in specific situations, unless you approach them with specific strategies. Once you unlock tier 15 expeditions, can you complete goal times, and how easy you can do that? Once again, yes, you can do it, but you will need to invest a lot of time to get good tier 3 mods for your weapon and armor, plus only specific expeditions once again can be done in gold timers. And even when you invest too many mods to your survivability, you will still have a harder time to survive some specific situation compared to the other classes and spec once again. To tell it as blunt as I can, you blink twice, you probably die. So there you have it. This is the abridged version and the honest and sad truth about the Vanquisher Devastator. In case you are interested in hearing more details, feel free to stick around as we dive a little further and compare it even to our best spec, which is the Blitz spec for the Devastator. After I unlocked the tier 15 expeditions, I managed to get my hands in some pretty nice upgrades for the gear. One of the best for the single target DPS is the tier 3 mod for our weapon, the Killing Spree, plus the Tanner's Hat, which also has one of the best mods, Stare into the Barrel. It gives an insane amount of firepower based on the number of enemies in close range. Overall, this is the spec I tried in some expeditions and you can see all the pieces and mods in the background. We have the Stare into the Barrel, Bloodlust, Crit Stack, Blood Boost, Thirst for Blood, Vein Reaper, the Cycle, Personal Space, Blood Potion and Damage Absorber. For the weapons we are using an assault rifle with armor pierce, which is a must as I have mentioned in my previous video, plus close range damage as their attributes, with the Killing Spree and Bone Shrapnel mods. For the secondary weapon I recommend something with weapon life leech and close range damage, as well as the Moaning Winds and either a single target DPS mode or something like improved vulnerable bullets. After a lot of testing, our skills and specializations has changed a little bit because unfortunately this works better after this testing. We take 3 out of 3 anomaly in veins as well as Vim and Vigor for extra 30% weapon damage, plus thanks to the cycle mode we also get another 30% weapon damage boost, and adding on top of that the blood potion, we further increase the damage in very high numbers with very small investments. We also take 2 out of 3 armor breaker modes, and with 30% from our weapon we now have 50% armor pierce, and all the nodes that increase the assault rifle damage plus close range damage. Stone cycle with through the mob for extra damage and survivability as well. For the skills I highly recommend the Gravity Leap and Golem as a must, and especially since we have the Into the Fray from our talent tree to further increase our mitigation by 50% every time we use our Gravity Leap. And the third skill is open to your preference, although I either recommend to use Endless Mass or Tremor, but I prefer a little bit the Endless Mass for the extra crowd control and mitigation we get from our class tree. Compared to our previous build where we invested more points in the Vanquisher tree, this works a little better, has more sustained DPS, you don't have to use your skill to get a weapon damage boost, and you can see that we have more than 250,000 firepower with only these small investments and changes. So after all these upgrades and for having 2 out of 3 tier 3 mods, that being the best in slot, how do we perform in expeditions? Let's test this in Archways of Enoch, which is the easiest. Eventually we managed to survive and get a gold timer, but at a very great cost. One small mistake was enough for a wipe, and after that it required all of our attention for the radar, keep track on our skills, bullet count, secondary weapon mode for AoE, enemy spawns and locations, and overall it was a big pain in the bee, especially since at a point we face one mother, some jumping alphas and many small Jefferson starships. For those that may wonder, they are those annoying flying green Strix things, and because they are annoying, hard to kill, I named them small Jefferson starships, and you can guess which ones are the big Jefferson starships. And in the end, we managed to cut it very close and get us the gold timer. But as far as other expeditions, be it because some of them are very harder, I probably don't even want to go there with this spec for challenge year 15, for solo, as the odds stack even higher against us. You will face more alphas, the real Jefferson starships, which are the birds, and harder timers to compete, and even if you can complete the level, because I suppose you can do it, but probably in silver timers, it will take a lot of effort. As I told you, you blink twice and you die, you have to pay attention on all your surroundings, and it just isn't worth the time and investment. And all this is with a tested and updated build that we took a lot of hours to grind and put together to get proper tier 3 mods for the weapon and armor. So imagine people that are going to tier 15 expeditions with only epics and don't have any good tier 3 mods, then I don't know how you can survive or just complete those. So how about the legendary set for the Vanquisher Devastator? Can we grind that and complete the tier 15 expedition easier? Because that gives us a 100% increase in firepower and weapon life leads when we activate Golem. And I think Tremor, but Golem is the go-to because I wanted to combine this with the Preservation and Golem of Death, and we could have the buff I think for 80 to 90% uptime, and that sounds fantastic, but according to some sources it won't work like that. According to some videos and posts I saw, you get a buff for a very small period of time, and even when the golem is active after this small period of time, you won't have the benefit anymore, you won't have any more firepower increase. So not only the spec performs poorly compared to others, but our legendary set bonus is basically broken and ineffective until they choose to take the time and fix it. But how about the middle tree for the Devastator? Well, it has survivability, but the DPS is laughable. We don't have enough points to take all the anomaly in veins, and the armor bonus, and the armor breaker, and the last ultimate node is we get, it's a pretty weak one. It gives us very small firepower and anomaly power boost. I don't think this works properly as well. 40% based on our armor, it's not what we get. I think this also is broken or doesn't work as intended. But wait, there's more! I wanted to see how much of a difference we could do with a bleed spec. So I was saving some gear and made this. You see the gear pieces and mods in the background, and guess how much time it took me to set this up? It took exactly 45 minutes. Well, around that, 45 minutes to 1 hour, but okay. The legendary head we have does not count as a benefit, because I only wanted to use the untamed power that the mod had, and the rest of the attributes are not higher compared to a purple item, so I don't consider this as a legendary item that gives us any benefit. For the rest of the gear, I used the Spike Forest, Blood Shock, Damage Absorber. I wanted to replace that after one try, and the only tier 3 mod is the Tainted Blood, and the rest of the mods are the River of Blood, Sharpened Eye, Extra Quake, Impaler and Ground Crash. For the armor attributes, I focused to have anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and a third random attribute that didn't care so much. I only wanted anomaly power, cooldown reduction to just maximize a little bit the build. And for the weapons, I used 2 assault rifles with status power. One of them had a resistance breaker and the other had some more mods for single target DPS to help me against some monsters. For the talents, I use what you see here, and I'm pretty sure that with some extra tries, some research, I can further optimize them, but This was for a test run to compare the builds, I didn't care so much. For the skills I chose the Earthquake, Impale and Golem, and if we have a closer look at the talents you can see clear difference between the specs, because the skill sentry gives us a 20% armor and resistance increase after a skill ends. To compare, Comfortation from the Vanquisher Tree provides a maximum of 20% damage decrease from an enemy for a whole 5 seconds after they damage us first. And we also have to damage them to get the full benefit. But wait, there's more. The Seismic Shifter also offers us the Protected by the Anomaly. That's a 40% armor bonus based on our anomaly power. So in comparison, the Vanquisher can give us a 5% weapon life leech. No, sorry, a total of 10% if we invest 2 nodes. In order to not further drag this out, how did this new build perform to the exact same expedition? Well, I managed to get a gold timer without almost any problem with the first try. I came close to die once in one moment when a broodmother jumped me, and I also had an alpha on top of me, but I managed to survive. And overall the spec was easier to play with and more fun. I just went to close range, spammed my skills and melee attack, kept shooting in between, and after I realized I was next to impossible to die, I kept getting a little reckless and staying in melee range at all times, even against multiple alphas. You can argue that this expedition is the easiest. So after this, I visited one of the hardest ones, even after the so-called nerf, the Stargrave, and I was also to one-shot that as well. Although it was with a silver timer, I was very close for a gold, and it was probably due to my inexperience with the spec. I think with some little practice, it's very easy to just get gold there as well. And I'm sorry in advance, but I won't accept the excuse that I was using one tier 3 mod in my armor, and the benefit it gave me was a 10% damage increase compared to having the Bloody Boost tier 2 mod. In comparison, the Vanquisher build I used for the same expedition had one of the best tier 3 weapon mods, as well one of the best tier 3 mods for the armor. So overall I'm very disappointed for all the time I spent grinding this gear for the Vanquisher spec, and I can totally understand and feel the frustration of the people that may have put even more effort than me to make this build work. It's just unforgivable that a class will only have a single spec to play during the whole game. So once again, to compare, I could play with all 3 specs with my Pyromancer as long as I found the proper mods and gear. I really hope they will do something very fast and put a little more effort to the Devastator, since it's very unfair, to say the least, for all the people that took the time and wanted to enjoy the class. At the time I recorded this video, it's been 4 days since we heard something from the developers, and things don't look very good for the future. Apart from the class balancing, they also have not fixed the inventory and character wipes. It's been more than a month since the game has released, and it's unacceptable. People should be getting the option for a refund a long time ago, and especially people that still experience this problem should get an option for a refund even now. They cannot play the game, they cannot even log in with their characters that they took the time to level up, and they shouldn't just spend more time to level up other characters. I will end the video here in hope that things will go better in the near future, and all the actions they may take will be swift, decisive, and for the community's benefit. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more upcoming videos, for Outriders and other video games. And have a wonderful day, everyone.
Found a pod down here guarded by monsters. I've secured it. Plenty of rock samples for you to play with.
Outrider detected. Access I can't wait to run the tests. Strange that the monsters are interested in the pods. Perhaps they're drawn to the humming from the electronics inside.